Hey everybody, it's mine. One back some more AC Rogue. See all this goose. Here to see everything's going up in this game. Setting sail, going off on our plane.
Loose all!
Flex
Let's move!
April 1752. To about
We only have one lead, Shay.
Cool Horse
Let's hope
Lines.
it brings us
So
closer to the
originally
artifacts.
from the game it's set up, I thought it might have took place in Canada. It obviously doesn't.
No.
But I wonder how that would possibly
Task me
be.
to
Obviously
task
not
you.
that much case
We need to
history
find
when
what
it
was
comes
stolen
to
from
Canada,
Mackinac,
at least in this
Shay.
place
You
time.
have to recover the precursor box of
Pretty
manuscript.
interesting.
This is your mission.
And what's yours?
I'm singing to
Watch your arse.
rap.
Achilles doesn't really trust me, does he?
Give it time, Shay. Do this for him. For us. Do much more than earn his trust.
Liam, you know what Achilles writes about? I see him in his office all the time, bent over his papers.
He keeps records and accounts. Studies what little is known about the pieces of Eden. And of course, he corresponds with assassins on other continents.
Of course. Liam, you could be a right horse's arse when it comes to assuming everyone knows the same as you.
I cannot help if Achilles wants me to be familiar with our counterparts in Europe and elsewhere.
He said like his favorite son.
Connor's his favorite and only son.
Then Achilles is heir.
This is for the
Connor
man.
may inherit the house.
Who
But
are
you'll
y'all?
be mentor.
Don't I have a glass
We'll
like I'm
see.
like that?
Whatever you say, Prince
Not
Regent
Edward
of
out
the
here looking
Assassins.
scavenge loot, but at the
You
same
call
time,
me that again. I'll
that
throw
I'm
you in
not
the
being
ocean.
enemies. That's a great British tip. I know that from the sales. Going to a lost fortress.
Long we tossed on a rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, Roddy, 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 Rhino. Since we sailed from
It's about slow down there, buddy. Aces town. Proud boy teams. Juck side though. This goes about with this.
Haul in the stunsails!
I didn't dive in so quick. What are you trying to do that? Getting she's on the move. 32. Close to all that.
Trust me, you will sell those lobster by the ton in France. Ah, the cabbage farmer has returned. About time.
That sounds racist.
We have a lead on that curious manuscript.
I'd be surprised if you can read it.
No one can read it, imbecile. This is why the Templar are taking so long with it. But one of our allies has caught a glimpse of their work.
A pirate?
A spy who worked with the pirate. We set sail for Anticosti. That should prove a good test for this floating cesspit you call a ship.
How trustworthy are the pirates?
I consider them brothers. When the time comes, they will lend aid and help us fight the Templars. If only the roast beef would realize the Templars were pulling their
Okay,
strings.
our glasses a different way. It's not
Are the
just
Templars truly in control in the colonies?
this.
Not quite, but their influence reaches far and wide.
And what about the spy we're meeting?
You need not worry about the chasseur.
So
He is loyal to the Brotherhood. As it happens, he also has friends in both the French and English fleets. And he knows more about what goes on in these parts than you can ever hope to learn.
So Liam, what can you tell me about Adewale? You obviously admire the man.
I had the honor of working with him once. I've never known anyone
proud
who'd done so much
assassin, he
for
freed
our
his
cause.
brothers for a whole ass slave trade, a whole anonymity. A slave trade and destroyed from the inside and out,
He
almost
was
to
a
an extent.
pirate. The scourge of the West
Truly was
Indies.
the beck and of a
Rubbing
freedom
elbows
cry
with the
for all
likes of
slaves,
Blackbeard,
all
Woods
brothers,
Rogers, and Calico
sisters,
Jack Rackham.
and the call of reckoning.
Calico who?
He really does push favor, man, for a lot of them people being a great assassin, because he represents something that accompanies a lot of the assassin's mindset and the echoes of freedom and the cry to do so. I ain't gonna lie, there's a little pitch of bias, because you know I'm a black brother myself, but at the same time,
There,
account for what he stood
an
for
English vessel,
means a lot
and
to
she looks to be in
That's
trouble.
it,
That's
bro.
fine
Niggas
indeed.
wanna- not
Perhaps
losing
we
my
should
shit.
aid the journey to the bottom of the sea.
Okay,
Let's
bet.
not be too hasty. She's full of crown cargo. Take a look through your spyglass and see for yourself.
Pretty sight. I say this is a good day to lighten King George's pockets.
Be careful. A few shots should be enough to cripple her. Too much damage and she'll go down with all souls. She's all spoiled.
We've been born and looted. Who knows what will happen?
Okay, just sunk her. Alright, well.
For sail! All sail!
Loose tops and royals. Look, Shay.
Kill a whale!
Yeah, man, see this small harpooner. Let's see how this goes.
There's some good meat for
Trim the yards off the wind!
bring it all in.
Man, they gotta run
Loose
the
made
fun.
sails!
This game doodle.
Now's the time. Let's board her.
Better wings to the wind!
Show them what's for, Captain.
Come on, men! Spoils are ours! For the more again!
Bang! Bang! Put your hands up. Easy things, easy things. Y'all niggas ass and punk. Memorial's fine. Let's take their loot. Hey, over here for me. Here for the other shit.
At the sea between here and Anticosti is rough, Captain. We should strengthen the Morgan before going any further. There's a harbour master station nearby. Spend our new wealth on improvements.
I didn't realize there was a brotherhood in Haiti.
Yes. Francois McCandle is their mentor. He gathers many of his assassins from the Maroons.
Those are escaped slaves and their children, right?
They are. A shame, though. They escaped terrible conditions only to be killed in that earthquake.
But Haiti's a French colony now.
Aye, it is.
And here, the assassins are helping King Louis. But in Haiti, the French own the slaves who are set free by the assassins.
Our struggle is beyond political borders, Shay.
Gotta fit the purpose of what the world is trying to do.
Small fishing village.
Is this the place?
But at the same time,
nothing but
with
fishermen
that being
and-
said, what he did was an illegal situation, not by the pronouns, actual freedom and stepping up in this case. He was pulling some Harriet Tubman shit, which again, by Assassin's Creed ordeal, yes, that's not actually going to beckon the call for slavery to stop, especially since I was still transitioning to form something like Assassin's Creed Liberation. A boy know the intel of the Lord, you feel me? I know how to correlate all this together. I be taking notes, you feel me? But at the same time, the point of what, again, Aveline and Adewale were pushing for still beckons the call for it to stop. But just one person, or two in this case, by two different takings of time, are not going to disown the entire caliber of what's happening between different stages of time. Because Adewale did his thing, he did it righteously. Aveline tried doing it, she tried written different things and stop different debacles, advocate stuff. And even someone like Connor, even though it was in the same section, was still trying to go and stop the definement of slavery and understanding of other people to be free, with even the case of it not being his people. Because even though Connor stopped the platoon of devastation involving the case of meth for his people, didn't really stop the reckoning of different things to other people, because you account for how they look and they have to true back into freedom. Because the people that he worked with in the foreign founding fathers, depending on the person, didn't really push for the ideal freedom they wanted to. Again, to reiterate, in the sense involved in the case of the characters to be put in mind within the form of his people, and the matter for why they are going for the problems that they did, they morally carried their own credential involving freedom for their people, and in this case, no racial, would be in the stature of white people, because black people still are covered in the form of slavery, and that kind of people were still cruckling about doing some arcade stuff. And when it came down to a segment involving why Connor did what he did, obviously wouldn't have pushed for that, but at least in a sense for his people, even though they got ratted out and kicked out of their own land, they got spotted with a form of care. In this case, the spotted. I'm not saying in the case of the word. They got dispatched from their land, even if Connor was pushed so hard for a form of freedom, even if his people did not get the full derealization of what they had in this case. Because again, Connor was trying to push for freedom the same way that Aveline did, and the same thing that Adewale did, but they had different credentials to account for their freedom. So not to go on a full-on rant with this being said, I'm just saying I like how it interbowls together, because it accounting for why all of them did what they did. Because again, Connor, back-to-back, was saying with this, not to keep going on Martin Luther King's speech, was trying to preach and push for the means of freedom, and this is what he was collating for. But at least in a little snippet of his freedom that he pushed for was only in the case for him not having Great Britain paralyzed the people around him and his people solely, even though again his people got taken out of their land. They just went off the face of the earth and only a few people roam around, and there's still a calling for the factor that his entire country is still crewed within the form of their slavery rights, because of the factor that people are still enslaved. Things still go dreadfully wrong in this case, and things still are discarding the factor for what he stands for in this case and what he's trying to do, but he still keeps pushing for that freedom, and that still goes in account for these people. So even if they cannot stop the political over border, at least they still have a presence of trying to make things better. Even again, for someone like Connor, having a little bit of say about his people not holding the same domain and form the same amount for vesting, evolving freedom, even if it did not get to that point. With that being said, with the assassins and account for his people, including Native Americans, with slavery still happened to African Americans, because in this case, black people were seen as lower than other people, and that voice crack though. They weren't even called as people, they were putting them in subhuman rights stand.
Per se and fishing go hand in hand.
They were treated very poorly and not actually cared for in the best case of way.
French fish these waters first, but King George is laying claim to more every year. The locals are caught in the middle. Anchor away!
That rolling was sweet though.
What service can I provide?
Good double lineup upgrades. I don't got the money for. Repeat game what that was. Whole reform ship. It's a pretty cool design, though.
My thanks for your trust, Captain.
We're gonna see about that. Camp area. No, that's it, bro. We're gonna see about that.
The challenge.
Loose topsails, gallants and royals.
Ships ahoy!
More fishermen from Persay.
Enemy ships! They're sinking the fishing boats.
You must believe those fishermen strayed into their waters.
These cowards must pay.
And would you look at that? Standing right in our way to Anticosti. What say you? We sink every last one of them.
For once, I find myself agreeing with you, Shay.
Stranger things have happened.
Hostile warship on intercept course!
Fire! Fire!
Awaiting orders, sir!
Reef the topsails and gallants! Fire!
She's breaking!
Fire!
Iceberg breaking! They're firing, sir! Taking us, sir!
We're safe! The yards on the wind! That's the last of them.
Then let us go on.
Not too far from Anticosti Island now.
Will your friend the spy be waiting for us?
Yes. I hope Le Chasseur has more information about the manuscript.
Maybe he'll have the whole thing figured out for us.
And maybe I'm Emperor of Rome.
Ave Caesar. Salt air, open skies. A man out on the ocean is as free as a man can be. What do you say, Liam?
We're out here for a reason, Shay. Mind your duty.
Well, what's the point of freedom if you cannot breathe deep and enjoy it?
The Templars stick to this continent like tar. I won't feel liberated until we pry them off.
There it is. Anticosti. Le Chasseur should be there. And with any luck, he will know where to find that manuscript.
Dock the ship here, Captain. We've arrived at Anticosti Island.
It was mine, and you know it!
Haven't you boys anything better to do than pull the air on?
So, Louis Joseph. Take a look at this. I borrowed these plans from a Royal Navy ship of the line. They are like nothing I have ever seen.
Good. We could use some more powerful weapons. Le Chasseur, allow me to present our associate, Shay Cormac.
Gentlemen, I have news. On this same ship, I spied the manuscript you seek. It was written in an exotic language I did not recognize and was full of drawings, plants, and animals out of an opium dream.
Were there no charts, no maps?
No. There may have been some kind of code, but neither I nor the roast beefs could ken it.
Where's the manuscript now?
The man who brought it said a man named Washington sent him.
I know that name. He's an important Templar, isn't he?
He is. Lawrence Washington has great ambitions that Templars have helped fulfill. Shay, let's return and find him. You, sir, have our thanks.
No reason to be here.
As the crow flies.
I shall be forever grateful to you, sir.